everybody, and welcome to another exciting, fun-filled episode. Let me start that over again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Radiorama, where I show you, the viewer, how to work on radios and other stuff that tends to run on glowing vacuum tubes. And today we have not a radio, but a Newcomb model TR-1625 record player that has a built-in amplifier, and you can hook up additional speakers. This is something that you would probably use in a school or an auditorium. They're very robustly built. This one actually still works, but the unfortunately the needle in it was bad. I'm just noticing something strange here. What's that lever supposed to do? I just noticed that. Huh. It adjusts, I guess, the amount of tension that the arm's putting down on the record. You would need more tension on a 78, which is probably what that means. So I went to the museum and I found that we had a replacement stylus, and the needle's covered with that rubber stopper. And so I'm going to see if I can replace that. It's very easy to service. This pops up and exposes the tubes. Like I said, it still works, but I'm going to replace the electrolytics. It's not a bad idea with something this old. Ow! Just pinched my finger. That was nice. That's what I get for filming this one-handed. So, let's see about replacing that needle. Okay, so that did the trick. Alright, so now that we've established that the needle is good, we can start on the electronics. It's pretty easy to get to the electronics on this. You just remove this plate. That was about 6 or 7 screws. And what I see here is a whole bunch of, these are, I don't know what those are. Those are probably paper caps. So probably what I'll do is I'll take one off and bust it open and see if it's paper. And if it's plastic film, then I'll leave them alone. But I'm testing the electrolytics, which is this guy. There's 4 of them. And it's testing pretty good. That's very low ESR. Let's try the second one. 2 ohm, it's not bad. Let's see. 2 ohms. 1 ohm. The problem is that you really need to test these under high voltage. And I have a machine that can do it, but I haven't used it in such a long time I can't remember how. So I need to look it up. I had to look up a refresher course on using my Sprague. It's not mine actually, it belongs to the museum. Sprague telemic. So we got a 20 and a 10 and a 10 microfarad cap in there, and then the last one that's unmarked, which doesn't have a shape embossed, is 25 microfarads, but only 50 volts. So we've got to be careful about this. This thing can be dangerous. It does put real voltage on stuff, and I'm not going to be able to do it one-handed with my phone. Let me put the phone on the carrier. Okay, so, and if I do this wrong, so be it. All right, we're going to bring this cap up slowly. And when I mean slowly, I mean I got to charge it up first. The rating on that cap is 475 volts. And what we're looking for is to see how much leakage this has. You see that? Like it'll start crawling up. You can't just jerk it over. I'm glad the museum lets me borrow this because they're not cheap. I guess because if you're in the tube equipment, then you know the modern ESR meters can't really give you an accurate reading because you know most electronics today runs on low voltage, and so the caps don't need to Getting there. Let's see, that's close enough. Well, it should be down to 0, but it's not. Let's see if it's going to fall anymore. Nope. Okay, well that cap is bad. I mean, it's fine, but it's definitely leaky, and it's not falling down anymore. So let's go ahead and discharge everything. That is super important. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, which is 10 microfarads. And so where is, I just realized I did this wrong. This is microfarads, so I should have had this on that last capacitor. Man, I haven't used this in a while. I used to use it all the time, but because my stuff is so, because the stuff I work on is so old, usually I just replace it. Okay, so that's 10 microfarads, that's 20 microfarads. Let's test this cap again. All right, go ahead and bring it back down. And again, we'll bring it up to 400 volts or 450 volts, 75 volts. I should just bite the bullet and just replace these. I mean, it's could probably be halfway done by now. Well, that's not so bad. Not bad at all. All right. Again, it's real important to discharge everything because you can shock the living crap out of yourself, which is not good. Okay, this one is 10 microfarads, and it's also 475 volts. Whoa, I should have. See? All right. Charged it up too quickly. All right. Bring it up. Okay, it's not climbing anymore. That's also showing pretty good. Okay, let's do the other 10 microfarad cap and bring it all the way down and bring it up. So one of my neighbors has one of those annoying parakeet birds. I don't know if it's a parakeet. It's one of those noisy birds. I can hear it down there. One of my housemates had a parrot or something. No, it was I can figure out what it was. It was some sort of tropical bird. And it was noisy and it's smelly. Just to say I'm not a big fan of birds. It's also really low. I think that electrolytic's probably okay. I'm going to confirm with one of my radio buddies. All right, well, I just I texted one of the guys, and I just want to make sure that I did this right, because if I did it right, I believe the electrolytics are actually okay. But in the meantime, I'm going to cut one of these out bust it open, see if it's paper. And if it's paper, we'll just replace those while we're waiting for an answer. Alright, so I took one of these apart. And it tears. It's definitely paper. It seems like really nicely made paper caps. They may be okay, but I don't trust paper. So all these little white guys need to be replaced. That's not a cap, that's a resistor. That can stay there. Not really much going on anyway. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 caps. Big whoop-de-doo, easy peasy. Okay, so I've replaced all of the paper caps, and then I got my answer from one of the members, and he said, like, that is borderline. As in, the cap is okay for now, but it is also questionable as far as reliable performance in the future. So that means that probably all those electrolytics need to be replaced because they were measuring about the same. It's not surprising. This is a 60-year-old piece of electronic gear. The fact that it still worked is kind of a testament to the overall quality of the construction, which I think is, these are really well built, and I think they had to be, because you imagine these things being in a classroom and like Jimmy would be told by the teacher to set up the record player, and he of course would throw it on top of the table. I don't know, maybe kids back then were more respectful of electronics, but it had to stand up to lots of abuse because these things got thrown around a lot. Oh, wait a minute, you know what? It's coming down a little bit. Just a little bit. Let me ask my friend about this. Okay, so I've had a discussion with one of our members. I've mentioned him on this channel before, Rajesh. He's super, super, super smart. And he's, in my opinion, the treasures of our museum. One of the treasures, anyway. There's lots of good people there. Anyway, what we did here is, like, see, if I immediately bring this back up, and then that falls back down to a low level like this, what we've done here is we've essentially reformed the cap. That means that cap is good. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing for the rest of the electrolytic capacitors, and then we may be good to go as far as those caps. Alright, well, I tested all the caps. 3 of the high voltage ones were perfectly fine. The last one, which is low voltage, is not good. So we need to replace that one, which is easy because there's only 2 little things going to it. Replace it with that, then we'll be good. Okay, now that we got the capacitors replaced, it's time to clean all the control pots here, and luckily they've got openings where you can pour them through. I'm using WD-40, which I know a lot of people are like, you can't use that, and like, you can. I've been using it for years. It's fine. Just gonna work that in. Seems like a really nice quality piece. Let's see, there's switches here. What is that? Scratch filter? Guess I'll clean that too. Work that back and forth a bunch. Alright, before I put that bottom on, I'm going to power it up and make sure it's still working right. Alright, well, I fired it back up again. It seems like it's working okay.
The monkey, the frog, the turtle, and the dog, the chicken, the weasel, and the flea, the little fuzzy coon, and the ugly baboon, they all got the wife but me. Oh, that girl, that pretty little girl, the girl I left behind me, the rosy cheek and the curly hair, the girl I left behind me.
Granted, like, that's not the world's best speaker. It's very much a pedestrian speaker, but you know, for a classroom, it's fine. It's not like the kids have gotten mature enough to be true audiophiles. This thing is very interesting. You apparently have to look at that pattern and determine what speed you're on. It's like, I'm guessing we're on 33 RPM? I don't know. Alright folks, well, she's done. I even cleaned up this little mirror here. And I guess the dots that are staying still are the ones that indicate the speed. So it's on 33 RPM.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. With the playing of their theme, the Grosinger Hotel takes great pride in presenting Tito Puente and his world-famous orchestra.
well, it works just fine. I was playing with it last night. It's just a good, solid, well-built, decent-sounding record player. So anyway, that concludes this episode, and thanks for much for watching. Till the next time something comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys the next time. Bye-bye.